Greetings and welcome to the Introduction to Astronomy. In this week's exploration of the solar system, we will talk about the Chang-e 1 spacecraft and its exploration of our moon. So let's go ahead and get started. So Chang-e 1 was launched in October of 2007 and reached lunar orbit in November of 2007, little less than 2 weeks later. Its purpose was as an example of the first craft in what is called the Chinese Lunar Exploration Program, and it was designed to map the lunar surface in 3 dimensions. And in addition, it would study the lunar soil and the chemical element distribution from orbit. So what's happening as more countries develop the ability to travel into space, not just to Earth orbit, but we're getting more and more countries starting to explore things like our moon. So this was the beginning of the Chinese Lunar Exploration Program. And as you can guess, since this is number 1 in the series, we will have others over the coming weeks and months that we will discuss as well. So now again, we're studying various details, and the findings of the craft were, of course, giving us high resolution 3D maps. So able to map it in quite detail. Here's a stretched out flat map of the moon, and we can see this shows the entire moon. The side we're used to seeing is towards the center. That would be the near side of the moon, and then wrapped to the edges would be the far side of the moon, the area we never see. But of course, a craft in orbit is able to map out the entire lunar surface. Now, as with maps on Earth, they're distorted when we look toward the upper and lower sections, so the polar regions are very distorted here. Essentially, you have just a point stretched out across the whole map. And it was able to, again, give us some high-resolution 3D maps of the moon, as well as giving us microwave studies of the lunar surface. So, again, more exploration, and we're going to see that over the continuation of this series, that we're seeing, again, more and more exploration and a better understanding of our moon, something that kind of got pushed aside after the Apollo missions and the Luna missions of the early 1960s, 1970s. Now we're coming back to study the moon again in much more detail. Now, the end of the mission was March 1st of 2009, when a controlled impact. At the end of the mission, it was controlled and impacted down on the lunar surface, where it remains, of course, to this day. So in many ways, this was a test flight of the spacecraft to try to find out how well this would work, trying out everything, as we did with other countries' exploration as well. So the first explorations were relatively basic here, trying to get some mapping and studying of the chemical element distribution of the moon. But future ones will actually involve rovers landing on the moon for the first time since the Apollo missions. So let's go ahead and finish up with our summary here. And what we looked at today was the Chang-e 1 spacecraft, which was launched to study our moon. It was the first craft in the Chinese Lunar Exploration Program, and we will see more craft for those. And it mapped our moon in 3D, as well as studying the moon in microwaves for the first time. So that concludes this week's exploration of the solar system video on the Chang-e 1 spacecraft. We'll be back again next week for another exploration of the solar system video. So until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.